Black girls are not told to be anything other than like present. So once you start speaking, and then I'm speaking and I'm taking my shirt off and I'm saying I'm not here for you.
It's like, what?
There's pushback to that too.
Yeah.
And there's only a little bit of pushback because I think people are afraid to say mean things to a breast cancer survivor. But sometimes they do, and that hits hard. It's more than criticism. I think criticism, it's anti-Blackness. Like, it's not criticism. It's a resistance to see someone standing in their truth and resisting systems of oppression.
Tell me a little bit about why you've been so visible lately.
I was diagnosed with bilateral breast cancer in 2014.
Okay.
And through that process, I got more, I guess, aware of where my Blackness was missing. Okay. At the time, I was 4 months away from getting married to a white woman. Okay. And we had been together for like 7 years. Okay. Everything seemed dandy and fine. And then I was diagnosed. We went through this whole breast cancer experience together, chemo and double mastectomy. And there was one moment I said, I want to go to Cleveland and protest Tamir Rice. Tamir Rice had just been killed. Yeah. And she said, why are you so angry about this? And that was alarming to me. Okay. Where I was like, wow. And then it was almost like I woke up from a coma and I realized all of the little like microaggressions that she had said.
Over
and
time.
that had, right. And almost like I had married whiteness. Like I could see that I did that as a way to feel good about me. And then when I was diagnosed, I started seeing it even more, even within like having a chronic illness. Yeah. Going to the doctor and the doctor not having any pictures of Black women with double mastectomy scars. Wow. It took her 2 weeks to find one image. So
and she only had one after 2 weeks.
Just 2 weeks.
Okay, that's horrifying.
Right. Yeah. Just a basic Google search of double mastectomy, and it was all white people. I'm feeling like the world wasn't created for me. Okay. Like it's not interested in my survival. And I just started talking more about my experience. Yeah. And reclaiming my Blackness and my Blackness being connected to my queerness. Okay. And then also my chronic illness, not as it was separate from me, but as it was a part of me. Yeah. And then wanting to see myself and then having to just insert myself.
All of these factors play into how a doctor, somebody who we are supposed to trust, somebody who has essentially been ordained, like for lack of a better word, to like take care of folks. Yeah. Like these things play into why a doctor can have a whole job where you have to see a multitude of people and you don't know how to treat all of them. Yeah. Comfortably, like navigating that space comfortably.
It's a system, like any other system. And it's a harsh reality to learn that as a patient.
Yeah.
And it was really hard for me to learn that.
What was it like in Maryland being a young Black queer person?
Relatively, would say like middle to upper class upbringing, living in the suburbs, running around like hair everywhere with no complaints in the world until someone was like, why does your hair not fall down? Ooh. Why does your nose look like that? Why are your lips like that? And then I started thinking like, oh, wait a minute. You do look different from me. Like, why does your hair flow in the wind or without any sort of like effort is moved all the way over there? Well, I do tell people that when I was a little girl, I used to stick my head out the window so my hair would blow. Because I wanted it to move. And my mom would be putting my hair, in like pigtails and all the different sections, but I would take it out and put my head out the window whenever we were driving. I would close my lips like so it would be like thin, because I was like, why are my lips so big? Like I should keep my mouth like that so people won't see it or people won't talk about it. Yeah.
Something that I think about in terms of Black people all the time is that ain't nobody gonna save us. Even within the Black community, there's still these great separations. Like, what do you feel like Black people, specifically Black femmes, queer folk, women, like need to do to have our backs? Because we know that we're the only ones that do.
Very little other than read.
Really? Mm-hmm. Read what?
Like, I think we need to read more about the history of this country.
Yeah.
Read more about imperialism and colonization, and how and how that has pulled us apart, and even in that like small like dichotomy of gender, like how that has pulled us apart, especially there.
What do you say to the young, isolated, queer Black girl that just there's no space for her anywhere?
What you believe about yourself and about what you feel is valid and affirmed, and what you see in the mirror, you don't have to see it as like beautiful or ugly or imperfect or perfect or any of those things, but just see you and affirm what you see. It doesn't need to come with a bunch of other stuff, because I think it just adds to it. But whatever you're believing to be true in the spaces where you are, I affirm it. Like every even when you don't affirm it. Like even when you're like, did that happen? Yes, it happened. Was it anti-Black? Yes.
Go with it. Lean into it.
Did somebody just say I was beautiful? Yes, and believe them. And kind of run with. That's what I would say to that person.
Thank you, Ericka. Thanks so much for joining Ericka and I today. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to leave them below. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.